This is Marvel Future Revolution. Now look at this game. This is actual gameplay footage that has been taken, as it says top right corner, in-game footage, and this was delivered yesterday at PAX East, and it is so impressive to see that a game is already far along, and it's given me the vibes of what they were trying to do with something like Injustice, but it looks like this is going to be a very much different game, especially because there's so many different ideas, so many types of mechanics that take inspiration from different areas of games that Netmarble has produced. Now, so many fans of Marvel Future Fight have even kind of said, is this a direct sequel? It looks like it is, but also goes in a different direction, and we'll talk about other games under the Netmarble branch that are doing similar things with doing sequels. You can probably guess which one that is. But this looks really exciting. The revolution starts here. It's Marvel's first open world RPG on mobile. Obviously check out some of the links in the description below of stuff we're going to be talking about, because I'm really excited about this. Especially because out of this year 2020 I've actually been very disappointed with Marvel games. Now look, I understand that Marvel games that are being created, it's going to take time, there's going to be things that are not going to be completely right, and that's why there's been huge delays on things like the Avengers game and as well Iron Man VR. And not to mention the fact that Marvel Realm of Champions, which is a game we're going to talk about in a second, hasn't really delivered any gameplay where this has, and a little bit of shade was cast from the developers of Marvel Future Revolution, which we're going to talk about. And as well, don't get me started on Marvel Super War. So yeah, as I said, it looks like Marvel Future Revolution is giving the player base from the start point in the teasing aspect a good flavour of what the game is going to be about. And as well, looking at a game like Marvel Realm of Champions, which was announced back in October 2019, and where we're at now, there's been very little bits of information except for including all the houses and information about them. I think it's all about creating some kind of story arcs and kind of introducing stuff before it's actually put in. But let's face it, we'd love to see some gameplay. A Marvel Super War can boast it's Marvel's first MOBA game on mobile, but the fact is, where the heck is the global release? Players have been shouting about this for ages and they're still not being listened to, and I don't think it's going to be a case we'll ever see a global release, so VPN it, I guess that may be the only way, and it's like they don't like money, so why not do a global release? Now, Danny Koo on Twitter said, and I don't think this is a direct diss at Marvel Realm of Champions and Kabam, but says some games announced without gameplay, it wouldn't be a complete new game announcement without some gameplay. So let's set some good example by showing the world that the game is real. And like I said, I don't think it's a direct diss, but it's definitely a point to make, especially the fact that Marvel Realm of Champions hasn't actually delivered any gameplay when they did the launch, which is kind of weird. But look, the fact is, if you've got two opposing mobile games which effectively are going to go against one another, which is kind of weird, so you kind of go dickabam, hear about them doing it first and then decided to do something. It wasn't far along to actually give any gameplay footage. That's going to be another question for another day. But it is kind of weird that they've capitalized on the fact there's no gameplay footage from Marvel Realm. Have gone, look, we're out here, we're a mobile game, let's get in the hype first, and they're winning the hype wars. One thing we need to focus on is this press release, especially because it gives key information that we need to talk about next, maybe in line with potential copying of one another. Not in a bad way, but it's very much weird and similar. So, Marvel Games in collaboration with Netmarble have announced a new mobile game, Marvel Future Revolution. It's an open world RPG coming to iOS and Android. The game will feature multiplayer with open world areas for players to explore. The plot of the Future Revolution focuses on a new multiverse threat which has different realities combining, meaning heroes and villains along with various worlds will be in the game. At launch, Future Revolution will have 4 heroes at launch, with those being Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man and Captain America, with more assumed to be on the way. According to Twinfinite, the game has customization options, with some being references like Hydra suit for Captain America. Now to some that may be a big issue, for others not so much and don't really understand. But for me, it looks like with Marvel Realm of Champions you have something like the Webbed Warrior, who can get gearing system that makes him look a bit steampunk-esque. And then when you look at this game, you've got different versions of a Spider-Man, which is like a gladiator Spider-Man, which looks kind of weird, but at the same time you kind of go, oh, right, so is this the way they're doing these type of games now? Are they copying one another because they're doing different Marvel-related outfits? Is that the new thing that we're going in now? This is very much alternate reality, alternate universe in dress and uniform, and the customization is there. I understand certain games have skins, that is a thing. But is there something where you go like this steampunk and this weird for the sake of being weird Marvel character is the way to go? And why are both games doing something similar? Granted though, Marvel Realm of Champions customization sets look very different to what we've seen with Marvel Revolution. With Marvel Future Revolution obviously taking a different vibe, but it definitely looks like there seems to be something like on Sakar. Do they have a specific type of uniform? Like that looks like a very gladiatorial based Doctor Strange. The same thing really could be said for Spider-Man, as you can see there. He's looking more gladiatorial as opposed to it being, you know, just the normal one we'd expect. So is that a Sakar based thing? Is there a current color variant that you kind of like change between? Those questions really will be answered in the future, though we still don't know when this is going to be released. A release dates become a bit of an issue, especially considering the fact that the Career Herald even backs up the point that we all know that with the houses being announced for Marvel Realm of Champions, that will be out in the first half of the year. More than likely this will be close to June, and that will be the point that the game goes live. At this point, if you're hoping for a release date for this game or even a beta, the fact is it's not going to happen too soon. The Bleeding Cool even give it a little bit of a guess-a-rooney to say, look, is this going to be fall? And that would be really good, but also bad at the same time. For me, the good side of things is that means it's a fresh Marvel game that I can actually kind of sink my teeth into, as well with the disappointment of stuff like Marvel Super War not actually given a global release. That is a problem. Also, it would be good if their Marvel Realm of Champions doesn't deliver, then at least there's something there that we could then get involved with. But end part of 2020 largely sees stuff like Marvel Avengers being put in, and that's a lot of Marvel games for 2020. So my hope is that there's a bit of a delay for this, and at least it kind of goes into the end part of 2020, or at least early part of 2021. Now, if you need more information on some of the footage that you've seen and want to go to the direct location, Marvel Future Revolution YouTube channel has been put up in the last 24 hours and check out some of the footage. Including a pretty awesome villain trailer, including supervillain Red Skull. There's MODOK in this. As you can see here, there's Baron Mordo. There's a big plethora of supervillains you're going to go up against, and obviously this is again part of this kind of open world type aspect of how you're going to face off against enemies. And it's even cool to see the transference from the Green Goblin becoming Red Goblin as well. Yeah, Marvel Future Revolution does look to be a pretty big game for 2020. Now, even though Marvel Realm of Champions hasn't really put out much, I must say I'm incredibly excited for a lot of these mobile-based Marvel games, and especially because it seems to be more of a push for team aspects and team working together, which really is amazing, especially because we don't really have anything that could be something of an esport type game, and I feel that mobile is lacking in that department. Yeah, there are a couple of titles out there where you can do some mobile-based esports like PUBG Mobile, but you don't have this in a Marvel game. So seeing something like this does leave me very excited for the future. And as well, when it comes to a story aspect and have these multiversal type travels, yeah, it's similar to what Marvel Contest of Champions, Marvel Realm of Champions will be, but I feel that a game like this will be a little bit different. And as well, looking at that kind of like punk version of Spider-Man. In some ways it does feel like it could be like, well, were Marvel Realm of Champions doing this first? Were they doing it second? Futuristic Captain Marvel? Oh yeah, I'm definitely up for that. And not to mention this kind of futuristic version of Doctor Strange. So look, whatever they're creating with these stories, they just look so incredible. And it doesn't make me excited for both games, but I think a little bit more for this one because they've, again, won the hype war. They're delivering on the hype, and especially with the character designs. Now, really excited to see more details as they drop, especially because seeing gameplay footage is a lot more than what we've seen with Marvel Realm of Champions, which is going to be the biggest mobile Marvel game of this year if Marvel Future Revolution doesn't get in first. and especially if this is a direct sequel to something like Marvel Future Fight, but expanding a little bit more on stuff that maybe the developer wanted to do, then I'm all for it. I haven't been a massive fan of Marvel Future Fight, but it doesn't mean to say that it's a bad game, it just hasn't been my structure. But if it's something that combines this with something else and breeds together this beautiful game, Marvel Future Revolution, then hey, I'm going to be pretty excited and pumped to play it on this channel, or I'll be playing it on my second channel, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now, if you want more information on Marvel games in 2020, check out this video here. Make sure to check out the other video and playlist, which will be all about some Marvel Realm of Champions news, which there's not actually that much because there's no gameplay. We'll see what happens with that. Check out some supporting links here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.